policy framework for the JSS curriculum or JSS system of education. Madam Speaker, a lot has been said and done in this JSS program. I believe it was the intention of the educationists in this country to bring a system of education which is going to bring meaningful reforms and meaningful development in Kenya. Madam Speaker, competence-based curriculum was supposed to help the learners to be able to perform what they have been taught or what they have acquired in the classrooms. For example, Madam Speaker, a colleague has just said prior that students were told to be bringing chicken to school to go and slaughter. Madam Speaker, you can agree with me that some of the children of these generations had lost some basics on the way. For example, slaughtering chicken is something which is supposed to be known by any child. I mean, basic things. Some, for example, don't even know how to milk cows, especially those who stay in the rural areas, like myself. Those are the things which we used to practice at the very early stages of life. So many of these children don't know basic things. And that is why I think the initiation of the CBC was to make us relearn basic things which are supposed to be helping us to live, to be practicable members of society. Madam Speaker, what I think essentially is lacking in the implementation of this curriculum is dissemination of information. Dissemination of information, Madam Speaker, in the sense that there is so much which has been written down. There is so much information which is just within some very specific people, but down to the level of the teacher and the student, there is a vacuum. So what should be streamlined is how the information is transmitted from the ministry, from the TSC, from the schools to the parent and to the child. Madam Speaker, in my constituency, Moiben, some days back, parents and the community were up in arms because they were saying that there is only one teacher who was posted to teach 14 subjects in a school. When essentially, this teacher who is posted to that school to teach the JSS class is supposed to be like a coordinator, and the head teacher to reassign the other teachers who are domiciled in the school, the other subjects to teach in the same class. It was not that this teacher who was sent was going to sit there and teach up to 14 subjects, chemistry, physical science, arts, language, and etc. Because, Madam Speaker, we have the best trained teachers in Kenya. Our system of education is one of the best here in Kenya, Africa, and internationally. That is why the students who we send out of Kenya to go and study, for example, for postgraduate or even undergraduate, they are normally rated to be the best, and they don't drop out of school. Not like other countries where, from Africa, when they send their students to some universities abroad, they are subjected to examinations, other forms of exam, to determine whether they qualify to proceed with their studies or not. But fortunately in Kenya, we have the best. So what should happen is that as much as our colleague is talking about the policy, I think there is so much here and there. What we need is issues to be streamlined so that the curriculum is very clear how it is going to be implemented all the way. The funding, currently from the budget which we've just passed, you realize that the education sector is getting the bulk of the share in as far as the money which was distributed is concerned. So how I wish this money which is going into the education sector be utilized to do the right thing, and it should be distributed equally. Right now, for example, in my constituency, the capitation for the JSS has been sent, but you will find that there are some schools who have not received the funding. For example, a school, GK Makeresa Primary, they have not received any money. The students are in school. So equitable or equity in education, where do we get equity? If this money is released in piecemeals and to other students, others first, others later, that is when equality or equity is lost from the beginning. And that is how other students, other areas start getting marginalized. We normally say education is an equalizer. And if it is an equalizer, there should be equity from the beginning to the end. How I wish even the ministry, the money which the ministry normally uses to develop infrastructure in schools, why can't they take the entire amount of this money to NGCDF, where the implementation will be done fairly? Because that is where equity will be felt. Otherwise, if we have the ministry deciding where the money to be taken, by who, or who makes the most noise, or decide who is a friend to a friend of who, it becomes problematic. How I wish we could take all this amount to NGCDF, and proper development is going to be felt. Just like now, what the work the office of the NGCDF has done in our schools in Kenya. If you go to every school, you will see a classroom, a building, a dormitory by NGCDF. That shows that it is a success story. Why can't we follow the same and put more money so that the infrastructure in the schools can develop, and that way we are not going to have issues of inequality. Another issue is this business of putting hierarchies in schools. We have extra county, national. We should do away with such and have Kenyan schools where, whichever they are, whether they are in Mandera, whether they is wherever, we should have Kenyan schools, uniformity, so that if it is Alliance, it is Alliance Secondary School. If it is a school in Moiben, for example, Kapkei School, it is Kapkei School, so that our children will start feeling that they are equal, so that when I am putting on uniform of a school in Moiben, another one in Alliance, it is the same, or possibly we could have similar uniforms, so that it is just like the buses. All the buses are yellow, all our uniforms should be the same. The only difference between a student should be the admission number or the index number. That is when we will start thinking about uniformity. So what we should be doing is that we should be supporting this system of education and putting more resources and seeing where things are not working. Otherwise, destroying it or saying it will not be a success, it is like throwing away the baby and the bathwater. But what we should be looking at is seeing, streamlining it and making it a success story. A system cannot just, we can never have a time when we are saying we are very ready now, let's change the curriculum. It has to be done systematically. Thank you, Madam Speaker. My time is up.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Charles Ngusia, member for Mwingi West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice on this. And because of the interest of time, I'll be